She only beat him 49-42. She beat every other Republican worse. In a state that has only gone Democratic with me on the ballot since Jimmy Carter's first election. A die-hard red state, she is winning and winning big against all the Republicans. So she's the best prepared, and she's clearly very electable. The main thing is she'd be the best president. Yeah. You know, before we ever got into politics, when I was active as a volunteer, Hillary was working in the legal aid office in New Haven. And she took an extra year in law school to work for the Yale Child Study Center to study the problems of poor children. And when we got out of law school, because back then it was very rare for a woman to graduate from a big fancy law school like that, she had all these big lucrative job offers in New York and elsewhere. She turned them all down, went to work for the Children's Defense Fund because she wanted to help poor kids. And when she came to Arkansas and then became President Carter's chairman of the board of the Legal Services Corporation, when she was only 30 years old, she started an advocacy group for families and children in my state. She brought in a huge preschool program from Israel. It's still the biggest one in America of its kind. She oversaw the upgrading of the education standards. She's done all this stuff for a lifetime. I'm telling you, I will be a voter, I hate to say this, I will be a voter 40 years next year. And I was a pretty smart voter when I was a kid. I paid attention when I never thought I'd have a chance to be president. In my lifetime, I have never had a chance to vote for anyone who was better suited to serve for the demands of the time based on an experience and proven ability to produce results than my wife. She's the best qualified person. I think Harry Reid's doing a great job. They did this a good energy bill, they did a Homeland Security bill, they finally raised the minimum wage for the first time in a decade. But unless we win 60 Senate seats, right. That's a long stretch from where we are now, right? Unless we win 60 Senate seats in 2008, we cannot pass meaningful energy legislation to create jobs or health care reform, right, unless we get a few Republican votes. We've got to be able to overcome a filibuster. One of the things that Hillary has proven she can do in the United States Senate is work with Republicans on climate change, on health care for veterans and National Guard people, on electronic medical records, which will save us $80 billion a year, by the way, if we pass it. $80 billion a year in health care. She has proven she can build those kind of alliances. You need somebody who can get the show on the road. Remember Lake Tahoe. When America is in the solutions business, there's no country better. When all we do is fight and whine, we're not worth a flip. And, you know, the country is sick of all these politics today. They want to get into the change business, into the solutions business, into the moving forward business. And she is also, by far, the best qualified person to do that. Now, having said all that, you got to help. We wanted to put some other states in the early mix, the Democratic Party did. So, that won the lottery. And you get your office, right? And all the polls say she's doing great. But this is not an election, it's a caucus. If you don't show up, the polls don't mean anything. And you've never done it before. So here's what I want to say to you. You took a lot of trouble to come here and listen to me, and you've been very thoughtful tonight. And I didn't want to give just a bunch of shouting. I want you to have reasons you can share with your friends and neighbors about why you're for Hillary. That's what I wanted you to have. But I want you to understand, if people don't show up here, then all the work we've done doesn't amount to no means. Now, we're trying to do two things, one here and one everywhere, for the rest of September, the rest of August and all of September. You got a card when you came in here. I want you to sign it before you leave. It says you'll support her. And check that part that says you'll talk to somebody about being active and talking to other people and trying to be active. We have got to do this. We've got to build an organization. We've got 100 people in this crowd who have already volunteered to be active and talking to their friends and neighbors to make people understand that it is worth their time and life to physically show up. If you want caucus to happen 4 years from now, and 4 years after that, 4 years after that, you want the West and your state in particular to be represented in the process, you have to honor it by making sure that a representative group of people show up at that caucus and get counted. So sign that card before you do. Now, one other thing I want to do, and this has sort of been my pet project. When I ran for governor, I never did out-of-state fundraisers. I never did anything. I always tried to run and just average Joe. These campaigns have gotten so expensive, they're ridiculous. But it is wrong to have a campaign financed only by people who can afford to max out. So what I am trying to do is to help Hillary's campaign get 100,000 donors between now and the end of September who give her $5 or $10. And if on the way out you will give $5 or $10, I would really appreciate it. We can put your name in, and you just think about it. We can get 1 million by the end of the year. If 1 million people give $10, that's more than 1 million, 500,000 or 100,000 millionaires can do because of the limits. So I want to broaden her campaign. When I go places and I see these rallies, I know she's got broad-based support. I want to show her the finance support. I want to say, oh my goodness, you had 100,000 people give $5 or $10. And it's worth it to your country. It's worth it to your future. And there'll be somebody out there glad to take your cash. But remember, it won't count in the report unless you tell them your name. Oh, they can legally take it all right, but we can't report you. So I want you to do that. Sign that card. Help her in this caucus. Give her $5 or $10. But most important of all, talk to your friends about why you got a big gift in this state getting this caucus. And you have to honor that gift by showing up. Yep. It'll be the best time you ever spent, and America will be a lot better off. God bless you. Thank you.